Good evening. Adequate notice of this meeting of the Lawrence Township Council being held on Tuesday, December 20th, 2022 has been provided through the posting of the annual meeting schedule of said council in accordance with Section 13 of the Open Public Meetings Act. Said notice was forwarded to the Trentonian, the Times, and the Ledger on December 22nd, 2021. Please rise for the inspiration and the Pledge of Allegiance.
May we carry out our work at this meeting in a just, honorable, and sincere manner, always bearing in mind our duties and continuing to keep Lawrence a wonderful community in which to live. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call.
Mr. Bobby?
Here.
Mr. Kanaki?
Here.
Ms. Lewis?
Here.
Mr. Powers?
Here.
Mayor Ryan can't be with us this evening.
So as the clerk noted, Mayor Ryan cannot be here this evening. I am very excited for today's special presentation. It's something we've been working on for a very long time. But then you're also going to note that there is going to be some musical chairs because I came so that I could hear the presentation, and my daughter has her concert that starts at 7. So I will be leaving. My one question before we get started, which I should have asked before we started, to the clerk, is there, I don't think there's anything that requires more than just a simple majority, correct?
I don't think.
There's no bonds.
No.
Right.
We're fine.
What about that ordinance, though, Dave? Is that ordinance? How about that ordinance? That should be okay.
Okay.
Yeah, I think we're fine.
I thought so. Just wanted to double check before we got too far along. Thank you, and I meant to do it beforehand.
Okay.
With that, we have a special presentation by Craig Dinwiddie on the improving community relations via communications.
Now, does this need to be on?
Yeah.
Just raise your.
Just raise my voice?
Yeah.
I mean, it's a small audience.
It records.
Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Well, thank you, Council, for having me, and I'd like to see the community here, especially now we're closing in on the holidays, so it's great that we have people here. My name is Craig Dinwiddie. I'm the Community Liaison for Lawrence Township. Part of my focus is community relations, and I'm going to be talking about how in 2023 I'm approaching community relations through communication. So basically, how am I going to do this? Here are some of my guiding principles or goals: standardize the communication process, expand on community outreach campaigns and resources, and ultimately improve the experience for residents. You want their access to information to be easy, you want them to be informed, and ultimately to get their information about municipal services in an enjoyable way. That's sort of the cherry on top. So here's an overview of some of the communications I helped improve or work on in 2022. Nixle, as we all know, emergency alert system. With growth in redevelopment, I created a business manual, as Chris can attest to, and we're excited to have that in print early 2023. I was a big advocate for the virtual council meetings. I know that's been in the conversation for a long time, but I worked with Peter and Yvette to get the OWL, and I'm happy with how it's turned out. Senior Connect, this is a monthly newsletter that I revamped after Andy Link, and it basically is supposed to get the seniors connected, feel informed, and also encourage members of the community to go to seniors and give them this. So it's supposed to encourage social cohesion. Lastly, latest in Lawrence is our weekly newsletter, e-newsletter that I helped revamp using a new platform. Now in 2023, these are some of the things I'm considering, and they're in various stages of completion or lack thereof. As we can see, the yellow indicates that I'm currently working on the red. It's more of a nebulous idea, but I hope in the coming months to pin some of these down. So in the coming slides, I'm going to go over these new categories here. So for communications handbook, I think this is just a prerequisite for a municipality to have a focused communications effort. And this will essentially guide our strategy and standardize it going forward. It will include things like a social media policy and procedure, a communications plan, basically a calendar, and content standards, how we write captions, and our brand kit, so visual assets, our logos all being in one place in this communications handbook. Next, for community engagement and assessments, this is really outreach. This is super important. In the past year, I worked with growth and redevelopment pretty closely, and I'd like to expand that to 2 committees I think are really integral to the DNA of Lawrence Township. So that's the Environmental Green Advisory Committee and the DEI. Basically, I want to be there as a staff liaison to hear what they have to say and integrate it into our town's communication strategy. And also to go along with this outreach, to do semi-regular assessments to specific demographics to see their pain points and to address them. Okay. Next is something that I'm also working with growth and redevelopment on. This is Shop Lawrence. It's going to be a standalone website. And the whole purpose of this is to connect our residents with businesses. So there will be a business directory, a blog where we interview businesses. I've already interviewed 2. And just sort of more generic business resources plus the business manual for how to onboard with the municipality. And there'll be a clear participation process for business so they know exactly how they can participate. And we expect, it's already up and running right now. We expect it to be done by early 2023. I'm not going to go too much in detail with this. I have essentially a blueprint of how to redo the homepage of our website. If you were to boil it down, I really think the website could be improved a lot, especially the front page. And so over the next year, I really hope to improve the homepage of the website where it's really user-friendly. For example, I want a resident to be able to come onto the website and find a key municipal service immediately. I don't want them to have to search in the menu, right? It just needs to be right there. And I also think that we need to personalize it a little bit and put our leaders up at the front of the homepage. I don't know. We'll see what you think. Okay. Next is something called PEG, Public Education and Government. Not many people know about this, but basically cable companies, internet companies, they provide this free service to municipalities. We currently have one. It's a channel on your TV, and we broadcast to it 24/7. Currently, we have this. Actually, right down there in the bottom left, that's an example of what we currently run. It's a PowerPoint every month, and it just kind of runs and runs and runs. So Steve Groger came to me, and he said he really wants to tackle this and make it more interesting, specifically for seniors. And this has been an ongoing, challenge for us to connect with seniors. That was the whole purpose of Senior Connect, but maybe we can tackle it from a different angle. And so that's what PEG represents. And lastly, this is a newer idea I've had, which is a new resident pamphlet. So this will be a first point of contact for new residents when they move into Lawrence. It'll basically give an outline of key municipal services, QR codes to scan and go to our website and see about these services. And I'll be creating this with the tax assessor using deed records from the county clerk. So that's kind of an overview for 2023. Thank you for listening. It's how I'm trying to approach improving community relations through communication. Happy to answer any questions or get feedback, anything like that.
Any questions?
Oh, I just have a comment.
Yeah.
One of the things that I've expressed to all of you is to empower our employees to be creative, to be proactive. And Craig is experiencing that probably more than any other employee in the town, because basically this is his job to create and develop as we move forward. It's a new position within our municipal operations. And I've been really happy with his past year, which is his first year, including your first year now, I think, right?
Yeah.
So when we meet regularly to go over some just broad parameters, but
he has full credit for the vision and the communication plan moving forward. And I'm really happy that we were able to fund this position. I think it's important. It's an important element of outreach, and I think it's nothing but good things ahead for us in that respect.
I just moved to a new town. I wish I had a new resident pamphlet. I need one.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Questions?
I was going to thank Craig. I mean, really, it's been a tremendous impact in terms of the community. Having you there as a resource, makes a big difference. We appreciate what you're doing.
Thank you.
Just a couple questions. You mentioned resources.
Yes.
Do you have anything that you're thinking about that you could share now, or in terms of, funding and things like that?
Well, are you talking generally?
Just
or-
generally, you mentioned in 2023 that you might need additional resources. So I was just kind of wondering what that scope might be. And if you don't have an answer, that's perfectly acceptable as well.
I would consider these to be some of the resources I'm creating, some of these things that I highlighted. And yes, they do come with costs. Currently, I do have a budget. And
So I could jump in.
yeah,
To save you. I like seeing you squirm a little bit.
Yeah. Answer this budget question.
We've talked about funding, and it's something that it's going to be fluid in terms of how we roll this out. It's post-pandemic, very quickly thereon, so we don't want to really commit to things. However, my manager's budget itself tends to not be fully used year after year, and I've expressed to Craig that that's going to be something that if we identify something that we would want to enact and move forward with, there's going to be resources in 2023 to cover that.
No, I appreciate that. I think as members of council, we're always mindful of the budget and allocating our resources. So that's really, I just wanted to kind of get a sense of what that is. Otherwise, I'm excited about Shop Lawrence, as you know. Interested to see how that plays out. Website, I like the idea of sort of one and done. And then, of course, the new resident pamphlet. I was talking to my wife today about township services on the website and just having that more front and center for people to understand how to just look to us as a resource about what the township provides, as opposed to asking people on social media and elsewhere. So
Yeah, we kind of need to interpret what their needs are.
yeah.
Okay.
So thanks.
All right, thank you.
Question for you is, sometime, not January, February, whenever, would you come over to the senior center and speak to the seniors about the programs?
Okay,
They don't understand them,
okay,
all
absolutely.
right? And that's their big thing when I go there every month. That's their big concern, is they don't understand and how to find things.
Yeah, I can come on a more regular basis. I visited over the course of 2022 a few times to do like onboarding for Nixle and stuff like that. But I also recognized the need, so yeah, I can pay more attention to that in 2023.
Thank you.
Well, I have to thank you. I have a couple of questions.
Okay. Yeah.
The website redo. I know we just sort of finished a website redo. Is this part of sort of an ongoing contract with them to update and upgrade?
So if I'm not mistaken, we're coming on our 2 years. Is that right, Kevin?
Correct.
Something like that. And I know that in the contract it states, not to get too into the weeds, but it states that we get a free website revamp.
Mhm.
Now, the extent of that revamp in terms of what it covers and also how receptive this website vendor will be to us is left to be seen. But we are going to tackle that to do some kind of revamp or really to freshen it up a little bit.
No, and I think that's great because I think that one of the struggles we've had in the past is it was great 10 years ago and it doesn't work. 2-3 years later, it starts to feel stale. So I think that there's a good mix of making it comfortable for people so that they can find things and also making it fresh enough so that people are interested in coming back on a regular basis to find out more information. I will also say, I think that the DEI committee will be excited to see you come to meetings. They also, just at their meeting the other day, talked about their desire to do a survey in 2023.
Okay.
So
Nice.
that may be something that you're able to partner with them on. And think I'm gonna view you and this whole presentation as like a parting gift to me. That I'm very excited. I'm sad that I will not be part of council as you make these changes, but I'm still part of the township, so I'm always happy to help. We've had these conversations about your position as well as doing all these things. I think actually, and we did not have conversations about it because I kind of promised Kevin that I wouldn't inundate you in the first year with, these are all the things I want you to do. But I think at some point we talked about a new resident pamphlet. We talked about websites. We talked about things like that. So I'm very excited to see all of those things come alive and see without me even having to plant the seeds, Kevin. So good job.
Listen, you are right. When you all first interviewed me, that was one of the things that you wanted to see happen, and I'm really happy it occurred, because we can't move forward and we can't take on special projects if we don't have the right personnel and the positions funded to do it. So this is the direct result of having somebody that we identified that we felt was perfect for the position. That's why we filled it, and we weren't wrong so far. He's doing great, and it's the smart way to proceed, and you do get the credit for that.
Well, thank you. I'm very excited, and I think you've been doing a great job. I will also say, when you look at the new resident packet, I would encourage you to talk to all of the local realtors, because it's great to have it mailed, but it's also great if the realtors drop it off to their residents as part of their, here's your new house, and here's a packet, because you may need to get it more than once in that whole cluster of moving.
That's true.
To make it useful, and I think the realtors could be a really good place to do some of that.
Thank you. All right.
You're welcome, and thank you. Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Greg.
Thank you. Have a good evening.
Thank you. All right. Did you have something for me? Yeah.
The slides.
Yeah, I think
So we'll do
if
that.
we're going to present, people should be able to access it.
Yeah, I would suggest to put it within the sort of agenda meeting minutes, that sort of for this meeting,
Yep.
so that.
And then we have public participation.
I have a couple of questions, as always. It's Sylvia Kobus, KOBUS, 1547 Ohio Avenue. A few months ago, maybe 3 months ago, I was here with other residents asking about how we can enforce the speed limit on Route 1 business in South Lawrence between Texas Avenue and the Brunswick Circle. So nothing has been done pretty much with that, because we don't see any police presence there during the day, at night, and the speeding. I purposely stay in the right lane multiple times, driving at the speed limit, and I'm passed constantly. So the speeding still happens. And then, as the cherry on top, I think, Slack Avenue got your speed monitor right in front of the firehouse. And it's the uphill side, not the downhill. It's the uphill side when you're approaching Route 1, passing 2 speed bumps. And after that, approaching a red light, because usually that light stays red unless there's a car there at the intersection. So I've been attending the meetings quite a bit, and I have not heard anybody asking for a your speed monitor on Slack Avenue. So Route 1 doesn't get one where it's really needed, but Slack Avenue gets one.
So I think, and I'm gonna suggest that the manager can probably get back to you on it unless he has a specific answer right now. But I know that we had talked about getting a year speed monitor, but they also take a while to order and go through that process. So I don't know if that was already in process.
We get calls
Yep.
all the time from residents all over the town about the concern about speeding in their neighborhoods. We only have so many machines, and we rotate them around. And this is the chief of police's purview in order to determine what studies to do next and when. We can't have them on every one of our streets. So this is just a part of being in a community with concerned residents. And, everyone has an issue with driving in excess of the speed limit on our streets. And if it was as simple as telling the police officers to pull people over, it would be done. It's not that simple,
Right. No, that's why.
as we all know.
Yeah.
So there's nothing more we can do.
Councilman Butler.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I think what's interesting from the comments. From Sylvia, I was trying to remember your last name, my apologies.
That's okay.
From Sylvia's comments is that I think also it's just something to keep in mind for the police chief and the traffic division to understand that she noted that it was on the uphill and slower side of the street. So that's something to just keep in mind. And I think we hear you about Business Route 1. I think we've heard that in the past about Princeton Pike. So again, per the manager's comments, I think it's just a matter of time that I think
No, it
Hearing
was
that-
just
no,
funny.
no.
that-
But I think hearing this, it'll get back to the police chief, and then it's a concern of the red.
To be clear, several months ago when the residents came, I immediately spoke to the chief of police the next day.
Thank you.
And what happens is the sergeants have roll call and they talk about the concerns and the focus of different areas that they should pay attention to. And beyond that, there's not much more we could do.
We have
Unfortunately.
addressed that with a sergeant once personally. We went to address it personally at the police station. We haven't heard back. We left our contact information and all of that. We're going back. I'm not asking you to say that to them. We're going back to ask why we've never received the information. This is why we come back here and ask you to influence certain situations to be pushed, because your voice has more power than a couple of residents showing up at the police station and asking for it. So this is for us. I'm not asking for your speed monitor on Ohio Avenue. People do speed there. I'm not asking for that, because that would be ridiculous on my part. But Route 1, we've had the speed limit lowered. There is coming north on Route 1, there's only one 35-mile-per-hour warning of the speed limit. So, and it's on the right side, it's a 2-lane road. When someone's in the left lane, they won't see that 35 when it's only one. So, people, I know that in April, there's going to be a bid on redoing the Route 1 to create the boulevard. But, this is still, and before April happens and we have the bid, and before the work starts to happen, it's still going to be some time.
So we thank you for that. And I think what you're hearing is that your thoughts were heard when you came the last time. And that we are continuing to monitor it. There's other residents that come in and the police officers see other pieces too. So as the manager said, it rotates around, but I thank you for bringing it back up.
All right, thank you.
And as I say, is there anyone else for public participation? I'm going to ask Councilman Bobbitt to swap out with me.
Yes, 7.
Anyone else for public participation? All righty then.
What you were gonna ask if anybody else wants to go to the concert with you.
Where's it happening?
LIS, place to be. And I hope everyone has a wonderful and happy holiday.
Happy holidays.
Okay, bye-bye.
All right, seeing no one else, close public participation. Review and revision of the agenda? Any changes?
No.
8, adoption of minutes of previous meetings. Have a motion for,
I'll move 8A, the closed meeting of September 20th.
Second.
Second?
And
Okay,
Councilman
oh, sorry, didn't hear.
any changes? No? All right.
Mr. Babbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kaneki,
Yes.
Mr. Powers.
Yes.
This will be an interesting.
Yeah, I should have. Should have spoken up.
Madam Clerk, is,
This one you gotta take.
right,
So what's
yeah,
going on here?
Councilman Bob and I were both not at that meeting.
yeah, so we'd have to abstain from that one. Can we, how do we move?
You don't have a second.
Yeah, we just,
No,
all
you
Just
don't.
table it till the next meeting.
right, we'll table 8B,
Okay.
closed meeting of October 6th, 2022, to the next meeting for lack of a second.
Very good.
9, awarding and rejecting the bids. Do I have a motion for 9A?
Sure, 9A, authorizing awarding bid 22-13 Brunswick Pike Streetscape Design to S. Batata Construction.
Second.
Yes, this authorizes the bid in the amount of $701,854. It's in furtherance of the improvements along Brunswick Streetscape.
Any questions from council? Any questions from the public? Seeing none?
Mr. Babbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kaneki,
Yes.
Mr. Powers.
Yes.
There are no ordinances to introduce. 11, adoption of ordinances. Do I have a motion for 11A?
Move 11A ordinance number 2437-22, an ordinance by the Township Council amending the Township of Lawrence Code of Ordinances to repeal Chapter 185 floodplain management, to adopt a new Chapter 185 floodplain management regulations, to adopt flood hazard maps, to designate floodplain administrator, and providing for severability and an effective date.
Second.
These amendments to the code are necessary as a result of FEMA directives and the state of New Jersey DEP directives.
Any questions from council? Questions from the public? Seeing none?
Mr. Babbitt,
Yes.
Mr. Kaneki,
Yes.
Mr. Powers.
Yes.
Managers report.
What have I done?
Happy holidays. Attorneys report.
I only have one thing to mention. We've been sued in an Oprah case, which is a difficult situation. There are reasons why we could not disclose what was sought. And I've written to the court and I've called chambers. I don't know if it's the holiday season or what's going on, but I have yet to be able to speak to our assignment judge. So stay tuned on this case. It's kind of a strange one. I know our clerk is anxious about it because she's always in the middle of she's in the eye of the storm on these Oprah issues. But this is unique and it really requires the judge to conduct an in-camera review, and that's what I'm trying to get the court to do. So stay tuned. I'll update you at the next meeting.
All right, thank you, Mr. Hoskins. Clerk's report.
Well, as you can see, these lovely decorations that our mayor requested. I want to thank the Public Works Department for helping with that. I also gave you your boards and committees updated. That's an updated version.
Okay.
And also the ordinance that you asked for the DEI.
Thank you.
With regards to student.
Right.
Okay?
Thank you. Any unfinished business? Any new business? Public participation, 3 minutes. Mr. Larson. State your name and address for the record.
Yes, Paul Larson, 170 Narrow Lane. As many of you know, I'm a longtime advocate of history, and I just want to talk or mention a couple of events that are coming up in early January. One of them also mix in athletics. So for those of you who are sports fans, I think both between American football and international football were some of the most exciting games this past weekend. But coming up on the 6th and 7th of January is the 100th anniversary of the Hobey Baker hockey rink at Princeton University, which is actually a memorial. So it's a World War I memorial. And I'm also mentioning that because Captain H.A.H. Baker, who is Hobey Baker's name, is on the World War I monument opposite the front door right here. So he's there. And I got on a Princeton Athletics newsletter today. If you're really excited, the Stanley Cup will be there on the 7th for both games. And I'm there quite frequently because I have season tickets to the women's hockey team. So, led by one of their captains, who is a world champion and Olympic gold medalist, Sarah Villiers. So if you want to see some exciting sports, turn out for that. They're also going to have special events for the 100th anniversary on the 6th and 7th. And along both hallways, they put up a series of panels talking about the history of the building and hockey program there. For those of you who don't know Hobey Baker, the Hobey Baker Award is annually given to the top collegiate hockey player in the country. So think of it as the Heisman Trophy of hockey. Hobey Baker is one of the greatest athletes this country ever produced, and certainly at Princeton, leading them to national football titles and everything. He's the only athlete who's both in the Football and Hockey Hall of Fame. That's how good an athlete he was. I believe on the 7th also is going to be the Colonel Hand March. I stopped by to talk to Nancy Bergen about Hogmanay today, which is going to be, by the way, and you're all invited, 6 to 8 p.m. on New Year's Eve, out at the Burley House in Great Meadows. The Colonel Hand Historic March is not in the official township calendar yet, which surprises me. It's usually the first Saturday in January, so I assume it's going to be at 10 o'clock on the 7th. And then on the 8th is going to be from about 9:30 in the morning till early to mid-afternoon. They're going to be experiencing the Battle of Princeton, which is also tied into the Colonel Hand March and the Battle of Assunpink on the 2nd, but they're going to do that on the 8th. So it's a whole weekend of history-related events, and I just want to pass that on. And the last thing I just want to do, because I'm probably over my 3 minutes.
You are, but I'll indulge you for just this last one.
Yes, it will be. I want to thank the council for approving closure of Meadow Road to help facilitate Hogmanay on New Year's Eve. Thanks.
Thank you, Mr. Larson. Anyone else for public participation? All right, seeing that, I'm going to close participation. 18 resolutions.
Unless there's an objection, I'll move them in a block 18D1 through 18H8.
Second.
Mr. Babbitt?
Yes.
Mr. Kaneki?
Yes.
Mr. Powers?
Yes.
All right, council initiatives and liaison reports. All right. No written communications. Motion to go into executive session.
So moved.
All right, thank you all. Have a wonderful holiday season and a happy new year.
Thank you. Happy holidays. Happy New Year. Thank you for all you do.
Thanks for coming in.
Oh, yeah, sure. Oh, my goodness, I'm getting a private session.
Happy holidays, everyone.
Thank you.
Okay.
You know, I got these agreements, I have these pilot agreements for Princeton Trails. They need to be signed by the mayor. Is the mayor around?
No, he's not gonna be around.
Oh, I
I might have
know.
to get somebody to take it to the property tomorrow, because I know the gentleman wants to.
Yeah, he's a pain in the neck, but,
I
I
know.
mean, that's the one.
The mayor sent social. He sent the thing that said he wasn't gonna be in this evening.
Okay, it would be nice if somebody could get his signature.
Yeah,
on that.
I just, maybe in the morning, I'll get, see if our driver can just drive it over to me. Sometimes we do that. Drive it up to his house.
You know, it's gotta be dated and formalized and everything else, so take a look at that when you take it over there. Okay.
Because they